lovely people, Fiona here. Today's video is about resilience during pandemic times, and I'm going to be sharing some practical exercises with you so you can increase your resilience. Resilience is the ability to cope with challenging or negative circumstances that come up in your life. I introduced this topic in another video, The 4 Pillars of Mental Health, and I promise to go more in depth, so here goes. As we head into the fourth wave here in Europe and winter draws in, governments are taking precautions to reintroduce more lockdown measures to reduce the spread of the virus, which makes total sense. We do not want our hospitals overloaded. What is not being spoken about as much in the media is the effect of the pandemic on everyone's mental health. One of the factors which wears us all down is uncertainty. If there's one thing we like, it's certainty. Sociologists have identified zero risk bias as a cognitive bias, or you could say a typical mode of thinking. It boils down to tending to take the path of least risk in any situation. But in a situation like we're in now, there is no certainty. During a pandemic, we can't eliminate risk entirely, and for a lot of people, that can trigger anxiety or cause raised levels of anxious feelings a lot of the time. The scientists are now saying that we can expect the virus to become endemic. That is to say, it's going to stay with us and pop up in waves every so often, like the flu. Normally, at the start of a pandemic, there's a higher fatality rate, which drops off as people's immune systems get to know the infection, either through direct contact or vaccination. We just don't know exactly how this is going to play out. If you suffer from social anxiety, this has probably been an especially cruel time for you, not just because the existing anxiety can get hyped up by the fear of infection, but also because anxiety is made worse by avoiding the situations that trigger it. And we have had no choice but to avoid socializing. This means that getting back into being around people can be a real stumbling block. And one thing we know about maintaining good mental health is that regular social connection is crucial for most people. The social restrictions that we all face have a direct effect on our mental health. In a review of the psychological impact of quarantine using 3 electronic databases by Harvard scientists, most found people were experiencing post-traumatic stress symptoms, confusion, and anger. They were being stressed by long quarantines, infection fears, frustration, boredom, inadequate supplies and information, financial loss, and the stigma of being infected. So how can we activate the immune system of our psyches? Just like the physical immune system, there are things that you can do to inoculate yourself against low mental health and use some positive psychology in your life. To start with, we all need a dose of humour. Do not underestimate how much a laugh can help you. Seek out comedy and try not to take yourself too seriously while still being kind to yourself. Try to find the laughs in whichever situation you find yourself. Taking things too seriously is going to up your stress levels, and that's going to have a negative impact on your physical as well as mental health. We know that laughing boosts immunity, lowers stress hormones, and relaxes muscles. It reduces anxiety and it enhances resilience. Secondly, maintain your social contacts for your psychological health. It's super important to be extra kind to yourself, This has been hard, and it's hard for all of us. But also call your friends and call your family. Even if you can't see people face to face and you haven't been in touch for a long time, it's beneficial to everyone's psychological state to get in touch. And of course, get together with people when you can, under safe circumstances. Thirdly, and I'm obviously saying nothing new here, maintain your physical health through diet, exercise, rest, and self-care. If you're sick, your immunity will be lower both physically and psychologically. It can help to take stock of your energy level to see where you might like to make some changes. You could ask yourself, do I regularly skip breakfast or eat something that is not nutritious? Do I take time for lunch or eat at my desk? Do I wake up feeling tired and regularly get less than 7 hours of sleep a night? Do I exercise regularly? Do I feel like I have enough time with my friends and my family when my thoughts are on them and not distracted by other things? Do I often feel irritable, impatient, or stressed in my current situation? Do I have enough time for activities I really enjoy? Do I invest enough time into doing things that will make positive differences in the world for myself and others? And is there a big gap between what I hold important in my life and how I actually spend my time and energy? And last but not least, do I take time for strategizing and creative thinking in my life? If you find that a lot of your answers to these questions add up to you draining your energy, then you can consider where you want to make changes in your life to get back on track. It's best to just start with one thing and make one small change and keep it up every day for 2 weeks. It's much easier to do this and make new habits one by one than trying to make a whole heap of changes in your life at the same time. If you try to do too much at the same time, it will likely feel overwhelming and be harder to stick to than taking things one step at a time and gradually introducing change. Imagine what the best you could be like in 1 year from now. Try to be specific about it. What would you be doing, and how would you be spending your time, and with whom? So what does a high level of mental health look like? Well, first of all, you will be experiencing positive emotions such as gratitude, satisfaction, pleasure, inspiration, hope, curiosity, and love. Having these emotions regularly has an impact on having better relationships, fewer physical ailments, and importantly, it leaves less space for negative thinking. I just want to say that all emotions are relevant, and it's a bit odd to label them positive or negative. I hope you get what I mean. We should honour all of our feelings, but we can fall into unhealthy patterns of negative thinking, leading to suffering which is not necessary. You can trigger positive emotions through exercises. For example, right now, why don't you try this? Get a pen and paper, pause the video, and write down 3 things that went well yesterday and 3 things that went well today in your life. These don't have to be big achievements. It can be something as simple as, I ate a good breakfast if you haven't been up for long. Now take a moment to reflect on this, what you've written, and to be aware of your feelings. This is called savoring your emotions, like you savor good food. You enjoy the positive feelings. You can also increase the positive emotions in your life by focusing on your strengths rather than your weaknesses. You might take a moment to identify some of your strengths. These can be things such as cooperation, being disciplined, patient, respectful, determined, honest, balanced, practical, responsible, open-minded, or organized. You can then choose one of your strengths and think about how you could take this strength and turn it into a super strength. Consider how you could use this strength today in a new and different way. For example, if you choose the personal strength of perseverance, you might make a list of tasks that you have found challenging recently and then try to tackle each one of them to persevere. Or if you choose curiosity, you might attempt an activity that you've never tried before. Write down your intentions, whatever you choose, and keep going at it for a week and then review how that was for you. Increasing mindfulness and living mindfully is another way to increase your resilience. Mindfulness simply means being fully present in the moment, in the here and now, and accepting the current state of things, including yourself and your inner state, from a calm, curious, and non-judgmental viewpoint. There are literally hundreds of mindfulness meditations available for free here on YouTube if that's something you would like to try. We can quickly do a mindfulness exercise here. First of all, bring your awareness to your hands. How do they feel inside? What do they look like outside? Where are they in space? What are they in contact with? What does the contact feel like? Now look at where you are. Name out loud 5 things that you can see. Now name 4 things that you can feel, like your feet inside your socks or the contact of your body with the chair. Now name 3 things that you can hear. And then 2 things that you can smell. And finally, 1 thing that you can taste. When you've finished, notice if your perceptions or feelings have changed in any way. Perhaps you feel more awake or clearer, less scattered or anxious. This is a grounding exercise that you can use anywhere, anytime. Spending more time in nature, although often not as appealing in the winter, is another great way to boost your mood. Make you feel connected with the natural world, reduce stress, and boost immunity. Engaging in enjoyable activities and having fun is super important. Even if your movements are restricted, you can probably still think of some things that you can do actively that are fun for you. Or you could engage your curiosity and try out something new. You're never too old to play. To sum it up for today, having resilience is important for protecting us from the negative aspects of stress and buffering against the onset of mental illness. Fortunately, it's a skill that we can all learn. Resilient people tend to be optimistic, curious, and open to new experiences, and work on strengthening and increasing their positive emotions. So focus on your strengths and potential and let them lead you to a satisfying and meaningful life, no matter what you're facing. Thanks for your time and attention. If you like what you heard and want to hear more, please do subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification icon so you know when new content is uploaded. Stay safe, happy, and healthy.